Hello Fly Nation and welcome to the Freestyle Your Life podcast, the one and only podcast inspiring you to live your authentic greatness while teaching you that less is more. I'm your host, Anesta Zimmermann, and I'm on my mission to help you to be the hero you were meant to be and to live what you came for in life and in business. Remember, the quest we came here for is to discover our true nature, explore our potential and share it by living. So my today's guest is Dr. Miluna Fausch, and she helps leaders from around the world to develop strong voices, confidence, and personal power. So her topic is the voice that makes us unique and different, and it's really totally unique to each and every one of us, and of course to spread the voice, right? Like we do here with the podcast. So you're helping your clients and people to especially pitch perfect, and you're giving talks, right?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
So what would you love to share with us? I try to do this with the phone app there, but I struggled a little bit. I have to check again, and it didn't work out. So this is a new system you implemented there.
I did. I launched my new phone app a few months ago. Since folks are spending most of their time on the phone,
Yes.
and a lot of the younger generations, we might say, grew up on phones.
Yeah, it is.
It's a handy thing to have. So yes, it is my phone app, Life's a Pitch with a P.
And what does it do for your clients?
It is, right now, it's educational and empowering.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of my videos and articles, so people can watch the videos, get a couple of quick tips, feel more confident.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, I have some contributors who are coming on board, and I will be launching a video course. That'll be next.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Because I was thinking myself of doing that, and I already bought a program to program the app myself. Well, not me. I'm not the technical person, but my technical assistant. And so this is a program to set up my own app. So this will be sort of similar then. So people have an assistant through the menu, and they can follow your courses and wisdom there from the phone. No need to be on the computer, right?
It is. It's another option. It's a more unique way to market outside of our websites.
Yes.
And as you said, it can be very customizable.
Mm-hmm.
When folks register for an account, I can send private messages or audios just to that person. So it's a lovely way to be of more service to our clients as well.
Mm-hmm. And did you partner up with a special company there?
Yes, I am on another app portal for coaches and transformers. The person who founded it calls us messengers. Mm-hmm. And their company is called App Brothers, and it is two brothers.
App
Brothers.
Brothers.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So they're abbreviated App Bros. So APPBROS. And it is their company. They are brothers, and they build personal, customized apps for professionals as well. So I worked with them.
I saw bros, but of course I didn't know they are brothers, so that didn't had no special meaning for me. So they are doing a good job.
Yes,
You would recommend them
Yes.
for myself?
Yes. I can make that introduction if you'd like.
Yeah. Well, I'll think on it and come back to you with that. And so you are on LinkedIn and connecting there with your customers, right? I must say I didn't work on that too much. I just cannot be everywhere, right? So this is sort of left a little bit behind. I have to do more there. But yeah, I'm busy with the podcast here, and the online summit is coming up. So yeah, sometimes it's difficult to be everywhere. So sharing our voice, and of course you do that. You give speeches, and I'm sharing my voice and wisdom here, and for providing the stage for other experts. Is of course is a medium, and a podcast is one of that to share our voice and get more impact, right?
Absolutely. And as you said, you want to choose your mediums because we only have so much time, and you want to focus on the ones that, for me, I like LinkedIn because it is so professional. I am spending more time on Facebook, so we'll see about that. And as you said, there's the medium of audio. You can do podcasts, you can do videos. There are so many ways that we can get our voice and our message out there and help and serve other folks.
Mm-hmm. So where is your special expertise, Miluna? Where is your biggest impact?
My biggest superpower, I call it, is to help people with their voice and their verbal delivery.
Mm-hmm.
So word choice, I like to say power words, depending on the situation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working with a younger gentleman right now, and he's a salesperson. So we're working on words that can enroll and inspire, and more dynamics, stronger body posture, more pausing. He has a very fast way of speaking. So it's fine-tuning the voice and the verbal delivery, the confidence that you have, how you stand, so that the message is heard.
And this, of course, in a unique way, and well, it must be authentic to the person, right?
It must be. That's exactly right. So it's looking at what's working for them, what's great about them, what's unique about them and their voice. And I like to say I turn up the volume so that they're effective. I like to suggest words and then help them find their words, right? Which words are most likely or more resonant for them. Yes.
Okay. Because when I started in the first place, of course, I'm native German, and I think I speak quite well English, but of course, I'm not a native speaker. I was worried, or should I do this in English for all the American, Australian, Canadian market there? And well, I said, well, either they like me or they don't like me, right? It's always like that. So sometimes I might sound a little bit funny. So if I make people laugh, sometimes with some expressions or whatever, the word doesn't come to my mind. That's just natural and authentic to me, right? So every other thing to say, oh, well, no, I let my fear win, and I will not do it in a foreign language. Yeah, that's playing small, right?
Well, it is. And I find, especially here in the United States, we actually love accents. You know, we're a country built on people from all over the world. So as long as you can be understood and it's not an issue. And like you said, I applaud you for going into other markets, because we speak a lot of languages, and yes, it's if you're not doing it in English, then you're missing a huge market. So I applaud you. You could do it in German, you can do it in English, you may speak other languages as well. So yeah, take that risk, get out there, practice, and impact. Yeah, impact and uplift the world.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm doing. Well, I'm speaking 5 languages, including my own German. I'm not that good at the others, so this is French and Italian and Spanish. And I love talking, and I love languages, and I love to speak with the people in the countries I visit. I don't like to show up as a tourist. I never did. I always learned the language, but I learn it real easy. And on the other side, I'm not good at math, but can't be good everywhere. So do you have some tips for me? What could I do better? So I have the expert for this on the show today, because I have lots of entrepreneurs in my audience, and that might be interesting for them. But as I have you just in front of me, and you're the expert for that, do you have some tips? I always love to speak in examples, and that's easier for the listeners to understand.
It is. Well, I like the way you speak. You have a slow pace so that you're easy to understand. Some of my international folks have a very fast pace, very, very fast. And so with an accent, they cannot be understood.
Mm-hmm.
You have a nice lower pitch. So our ears tend to like a lower pitch, especially in women. Sometimes I have older women, especially, that speak like this, like a little girl, and it's just not appropriate. It's not powerful. It's not credibility. Yeah. So I think my tip, what I hear is, this is common for a lot of people, is what I call filler words.
Yes.
So a lot of those ums creep in. So if I may suggest one thing, it would be to be comfortable with pausing or just a bit of silence. Instead of using words like and like is very popular, because when we begin to use too many filler words that are not so important, it dilutes our message. It dilutes the power of what you're really saying.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Become comfortable with pausing. Okay.
And maybe think about it this way for our listeners today. Imagine a piece of music that you're listening to, and there's no rest. There's no, meaning the pause in between the notes. It would be very hard to listen to after a few minutes.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Right? Our ears get fatigued, and we literally can't usually hear as fast as a person may be talking, especially if they're very fast. So think of it as the biggest gift you can give yourself and our audiences, the power of a pause, a rest, a moment where we get to process and really hear what you've said.
Mm-hmm. And how long should this be? This pausing?
It depends on the situation. Generally, I would say a couple of seconds. It wouldn't be a very long pause unless you're at the end of maybe you're educating or training an audience, and you need to give them a few seconds to catch up, to take notes, to really absorb what you're saying. Maybe you want to pause for 5 or 10 seconds and then repeat the material. Or the sentence, because it's so very important.
Yes.
But generally, as the flow of our conversation goes, it would be a couple of seconds. And we're uncomfortable. We think it's a long, long, long pause. It's not really. It's not really that long.
No, it's just the feeling, right?
Yes, it's our feeling that it's long.
Yeah, because in preparation before setting up the podcast myself or speaking here in public, I just watched so many other people doing it, right? So to see how it's best and how I like it best, and what I come to realize is of some guests, they like just to be on the flow, and they could talk till tomorrow, right, without not any question and nothing. And then sometimes I interfere and I stop and repeat some things, because if you're just listening it for the podcast, you don't see each other like we do now for the summit. And you might be on the go and doing sports or in the car, whatever. So you don't solo focus on just listening. If this is too long, it gets it's like you miss the words and the meaning, and that's why after a little while I always stop and recap some things, so to make sure the listeners can still follow. So what about that?
That's a great point. We are very active. There's so many distractions in today's world. And you want to maybe summarize or ask a question, right? Tell me more about that. Clarify what we've just heard, so that your audience and folks get a chance to hear it in a different way from your mouth. And then sometimes we can hear it better. Yes, exactly.
Because they, of course, cannot ask in between, but I just sometimes I think I need to make sure that we really can follow. And if this is too much of a monologue, it could be the most important and interesting topic, but the attention goes down. It's just a normal thing, right?
It is. And I think actually we're wired to connect with each other, and it's so much more interesting when we're talking back and forth or interviewing or sharing. It changes the meaning, and it becomes more impactful and meaningful for the folks listening. So yes, it changes the energy.
Okay. So what other tips do you have for us? For somebody who is new to the business to speak and is just made up his or her idea to speak publicly, and or myself as I'm speaking here.
I would say the thing that trips most people up is they become what I call a talking head. So I would like to encourage people to think of your voice as your whole body. I used to make a joke. I played the piano and the flute, but the voice won because it's the easiest to take. So I get to carry this voice. It is my body. And so I think of I had a German opera coach in my undergrad. And she told me I needed to take up more space, and I needed to think of singing from my feet. And it took me years to really understand and master what she said, because your voice really is an extension of us, right, of our body. And so when we're standing tall and we're firmly grounded, our ribs and chest are expanded to support, and we're opening our heart so that we're not just talking at people. That would be the first thing, to think of our body as our instrument. The second thing is to understand your voice has dimension. So what I mean is the voice has depth and height and width, energy, intention. So I always ask my clients, what's your reason for speaking? Why are you on this stage? Are you here to educate? Are you here to train? Are you here to raise money? Are you here to motivate? Are you here to inspire? Are you here to sell? What is your purpose? So there's always an intention. And I like to say the voice has a destination. So imagine the air is what begins our sound. Yeah, so it's as if there's an ocean of air and the sound is on top of it. So for me, it's always a forward and outward motion to produce my voice and wrap around my audience. Let them into my world. And then the third thing that can really trip people up, back to that talking head, is we're not in the moment. We get into ego world and protection because it's very vulnerable to stand and speak or sing, as I do as well. And so we start thinking about ourselves and becoming self-conscious. And what we really want to do is put the focus outward on our audience, really connecting with them, showing our world, because they're interested in our perspective and our story. And as you mentioned at the beginning, we're one in I think 7.7 billion people on the planet now. I didn't check the population counter this morning, but I think we're at about 7.7 billion. So within that huge population on the planet, you really are unique. Your voice is unique, and your message and the way you say things is unique. So you want to take a deep breath, keep your focus outward. And then I guess the fourth thing I would say, I could go on, but to be concise, the fourth thing is to practice. Don't wing it. Practice and know what you're going to say and why you're saying it, and rehearse yourself. Give yourself every opportunity to be great and to really show up 100%. Be there for your audience.
Because I really think even if you're just listening to the podcast now, you can feel it, right? We both, they don't see us like we see each other here because we're taking it on video. But if you just listen to the podcast, you just hear the audio voice, right? But you can still feel by listening if we are content with each other, if we are comfortable, if we tend to laugh, even if they don't see us, right?
That is so true. It's even more important when it's just an audio, a podcast, because now we don't have visual cues.
Yes.
Now so our voice, is it at the right pitch? Is there dynamics, or is it like a monotone voice in the throat? Who would want to listen to that? That's not easy to listen to.
Yes.
It is. It's what you said. Are we connecting? Are we comfortable in what we sometimes say, in our own skin? Are we learning to be confident in who we are and what we have to share with the world?
Yes. Totally agree. Well, that have been some good tips, and I went through 45 interviews now, so yeah, everything comes with practice, right? So you come into the flow and it becomes easier and easier. And but I must say, being not a native speaker, there are some, of course, every partner here on the podcast is speaking English, whether they come from Auckland or Sydney or California, wherever. But for me to understand somebody who speaks clearly and bright is of course much easier than somebody, right? So sometimes it goes just like that. And or Sydney, Auckland, or this area, New Zealand, they have just a complete different accent. And yeah, it's still English, of course, but for me, it's easier with the Canadian or American English to follow through.
Yeah, that's what I hear. As you said, there are so many English, the British, the Aussies, it is the news, the Kiwis. It's fascinating how much English.
Yeah.
And it's, as you said, we all have such different accents and ways of speaking. And some are, with my ears, I can usually pick out where someone grew up or their native tongue, just because I'm so trained at it and this is what I do. But yes, it can be quite challenging and hard to listen to in some cases. And so we might find ourselves not really catching everything. And so that's a shame, because then that person's impact is lessened. It can't be so powerful if we cannot hear and process the message and what is being said.
So it's really important to speak clearly, right, and speak up with a normal voice, not too deep, not too high, just in a sort of, but not monotone, of course.
That's right. It's to let your personality show. And some people are more left brain, as you know, more perhaps engineers, analyticals. So their voice is not going to be as dynamic as, say, mine, right? Coming from corporate sales, but I'm an actor and a singer. That's my side hustle. So I'm going to be more dynamic. But for anyone, we want to put our heart and soul and emotional intelligence, our spirit, into that, so that there's some difference, right? There's some dynamics. There's some variety in the way we're speaking. Yes. That's what makes it interesting and makes it unique and fun for us and everyone who's listening as well.
So thanks so much, Miluna, for your tips here. And I keep improving and keeping an eye on the M. My son, he told me so in the last interview. He heard me there, and to really have to really pause.
Yes,
that's a good advice. Thanks for that.
My pleasure.
And thanks for being here. And I wish you a lovely day. And my day is over today. Now it's 8 o'clock in the evening. So because of the time zone difference here, and I will check the app again, your app. And in case I consider them to be the right company there for them, that would be lovely to introduce me there.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for the invitation to be here. It's a pleasure to speak across the airwaves, across the continents.
Yeah. You're so welcome. Have a wonderful day, and all my listeners out there in Fly Nation also.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Thanks for listening in. I hope you got new inspiration to seek help and surrender to love no matter what situation you're in. Hopefully you could take away that transformation is possible. By getting the right support, you can embrace life joyfully and enjoy your life on your own authentic terms. Please rate and review the Freestyle Your Life podcast on freestyle-your-life.com/podcast if you like today's talk, and make sure you qualify for the amazing I Love to Fly podcast giveaway by subscribing and referring 3 friends to the Freestyle Your Life podcast. All experts and myself are happy to assist and support you. Just reach out to us. Thanks for joining us today, and don't forget to tune in next Thursday and listen in to your next inspiration on how to freestyle your life. You'll learn another priceless shortcut on how to break free and restyle your life on your own authentic terms. Becoming authentically you will ease your life and business. Remember, Fly Nation, break free and fly. Looking forward to talk to you next Thursday. Bye.